Hey, everybody. Brandon Lewis here. Excited to have you at the Tennessee Conservative News Break. I'm coming to you live from an undisclosed location. So if you're here with me today, feel free to comment in the comment section. Tell me you are out there, and we'll get on with the broadcast. Thank you for joining us today. Um, hopefully the internet connection in this cabin will hold out. If not, we're still going to bring you the conservative news headlines as best we can, and I'm going to get right into those immediately. So this is the Tennessee Conservative News break. We do this every day in and around 12 o'clock. I am vacationing. So even when I am vacationing with the family, I still like to try to come and bring you these headlines because keeping conservatives abreast of what's going on is really important. So we're going to get right into the headlines. If you have yet to sign up, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com and you can get onto our e-newsletter list. And sometimes we do send text notifications with summaries, especially if there's something really important that you need to know. And if you go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com and click the support button, we will send you 2 Proud Tennessee Conservative bumper stickers for any amount that you give. And if you give over $50, and we have sold a lot of these here recently, you'll get a Proud Tennessee Conservative tumbler and any liquids that are put into here. If you put in Boone's Farm, it comes out a 50-year-old Cabernet. It really does. It's amazing what this tumbler can do. And we do run off support here at the Tennessee Conservative. So thank you guys. So many of you gave over the weekend. We just send a little simple text out, and we appreciate that those of you who like conservative news are trusting us and giving us your support. So thanks. So let's get right into the news. First off, foster adoption exemption bill to be heard in committee. Senate Bill 1337 will be heard in committee on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central. That is tomorrow, if you're watching this now. The intent of SB 1337 is to open up more viable households for fostering and placing unadopted children. And 1337 allows households with lawful religious and medical exemptions that have been wrongly discriminated against and excluded to be considered as viable households. Current Department of Children's Services policies require that household members, adults, and children be immunized, and does not acknowledge lawful exemptions without condition. And there's a lot of employment situations that do not acknowledge these religious exemptions, and hopefully we've got a Senate bill coming down the pike that will make this more clear. And additionally, as a requirement of fostering children under 5, children with special medical needs have lawful exemptions, and those aren't acknowledged either. So, with certain conditions placed on willing families, potential viable households are lessened. So, it seems to me if we have a lot of kids that are stuck in the foster care system, particularly because of COVID, a lot of people probably didn't want people in their home, thought, well, there's a lot of uncertainty in the market. We've got a lot of uncertainty with our jobs. I'm sure that a lot of children that would have typically been adopted were the pandemic handled properly, and if freedom were given to families and a lot less restrictions placed on people and a lot less mandates, uh, we probably would have more kids in homes already. So if you want to support this bill, contact the Judiciary Committee by phone and email. If you go to the Tennessee House website, you can look at who's on the Judiciary Committee rather in the Senate, and you can help them out with that. And all of the additional contact information can be found in this article at TennesseeConservativeNews.com. So if you'll go over there, that would be awesome. Second story. Tennessee Republican leaders divided on Medicaid expansion incentives. So, in the most recent COVID-19 relief package offered by President Biden, it would allow Tennesseans to receive more money to cover health care costs over 300,000 Tennessee residents. The Medicaid expansion, if approved by the General Assembly. Now, the health care stipulations in the relief package have federal government paying 95% of those health care costs over the next 2 years. Currently, the federal government pays 65%, while the state picks up 30% of the cost. Governor Rand McNally, a Republican from Oak Ridge, has previously been firmly opposed to Medicaid expansion because of the possible financial burden it could create for the state. So every time the federal government gives states money, it comes with an unbelievable amount of strings attached to it. And those strings are all of these top government programs where you have to accept this or that condition. And Tennessee probably just doesn't want to do that. But now he says that maybe the proposal should be considered with stipulations that the state's modified block grant remains in effect. Republican House Speaker Cameron Sexton is not ready to concede and states he does not think that the proposal would ever make its way through the House if it was tried, which is probably true. You don't want to be on record as the person who voted for expanding Medicaid and being fiscally irresponsible. Senate Minority Leader Jeff Yarbrough of Nashville also made an appeal for leaders to utilize these funds that are just there for the taking and acknowledge that the funding from 2 years ago could potentially cover up to 5 years of Tennessee's share of Medicaid expenses on the roll. And Tennessee is one of the 12 states that have not accepted Medicare. Frankly, I'd just rather them not expand it. There's always these rules and limitations that come with it. National judge rules in favor of reinstating sportsbook betting license. On Friday, a national judge ruled in favor of Action 24/7 having their betting license reinstated. The company's license was recently revoked after reports of fraudulent activity. The Friday ruling means that the Tennessee Education Lottery will have to reinstate the license for the online sports book. In her ruling, the judge said that Action 24/7 has clearly shown the likelihood that its rights are being violated and will suffer immediate and irreparable injury. The suspension marked the first time in the U.S. that an online sportsbook lost its license. Lead analyst for Play USA, Dustin Goker, called it a sad milepost in the sports betting history. Action 24/7's attorney Clayton fought to overturn the suspension after claiming a lottery investigator was exaggerating the situation. He said the amount lost was $22,601, and Action immediately took steps to rectify the incidents. The lawsuit also claimed Action was never able to tell their side of the story. They have since put more controls into place to prevent any fraudulent activity. For one, they will now limit the number of deposits that can be made to an account to 2 an hour. This new limitation only includes debit and credit card transactions. So, lottery officials also released a statement after the ruling, which said, "We will continue to work with Action 24/7 to implement appropriate minimal internal controls that protect the public interest and the risk to the integrity of sports gaming in Tennessee." It's funny when they quit calling it gambling and they started calling it gaming. I guess it sounds better. Anyway, on the national side, Senator Ted Cruz posts tweets and photos of the border situation. Republican senators from Texas, Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, led a delegation of lawmakers to the Rio Grande Valley Friday to learn more about how illegal immigrants were being treated in the federal facilities. Cruz tweeted photos and videos of the conditions, saying these are the pictures the Biden administration doesn't want the American people to see. This is why they won't allow the press in, which is amazing to me. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be you know, the administration of accountability and transparency, yet Biden has only held one press conference, and that was a sham. And obviously the reporters were pre-selected. The questions looked to be selected. The responses appear to be pre-selected and done. That's not a press conference. That's not how the American people get information. And limiting the press in places like the border, that's just another example of how they probably want to hide more than they want to show. The lawmakers described what they saw, and that's overrun detention centers with mothers and their infants sleeping on the floor. Cruz said they also saw human traffickers identified by law enforcement on the Mexican side of the border, taunting U.S. border officials with flashlights. One of the members of the delegation, Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, said there's no mystery here. President Joe Biden created this border crisis. He did. And he can fix it by re-implementing the Trump administration policies, which were working, which they were. The border crisis highlights the short-sightedness of President Biden's immigration agenda. Our immigration system is in chaos, and we need laws that keep Americans safe and reward those who follow our laws. Senator Cornyn said that the Biden administration is in denial about the crisis. I think it's going to get nothing but worse, and they can't build enough facilities to house the sea of humanity that keeps coming across our border in far larger numbers. I mean, this is not an issue of detention centers. This is not an issue of housing. This is an issue of if you invite the world to come across your southern border, and if you indicate to them that there's a good chance they'll be released into the United States, of course they're going to come over. And so with the change of the recent administration, that's what we're looking at here. On the local side, Chattanooga Area Food Bank launches Reimagined online auction to fight hunger. A lot of nonprofits are having to switch to online events, and sadly, they typically do not do as well. And I hope a lot of these organizations, their supporters and sponsors, will go out and help them. The Chattanooga Area Food Bank has announced a reimagined online auction to raise funds and educate the community about food insecurity, dubbed Hullabaloo 2021. The auction is Chattanooga area's first signature fundraising event. Tickets and auction proceeds rather benefit the Chattanooga Area Food Bank's work to eliminate hunger and promote better nutrition in the region. So if y'all are looking for a good cause to support, do look it up. Hullabaloo, and that's Hulla Bowl. Yeah, see what they did there. You can put food in a bowl. Hullabaloo 2021, and the auction is for the greater that Chattanooga area food bank. So definitely go there, and bidding begins April 16th. So you got some time at 6 p.m. Eastern and lasts through April 25th. So you can go to their website, just look up the Chattanooga area food bank. I'm sure all the details will be there. So guys, those are your headlines for today, which is the 29th of March. Thank you so much for joining us. Do share our articles online. And if you've got friends, family members you know that are conservative and they just really wish that we had a conservative news alternative in Tennessee, let them know that we have one. And if you support us by clicking that red support button, we will send you 2 Proud Tennessee Conservative bumper stickers. And if you give $50 or more, you will get this fantastic tumbler, Proud Tennessee Conservative tumbler. And again, if you put water into it, wine comes out. One time I actually had to use this to change a tire on my truck, and it held pretty well. It held pretty well. So it is made of indestructible antimonium. It's the same thing that Wolverine's claws and exoskeleton are made out of, for those of you who do not know. And that is a joke for comic book dorks. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, Floyd. I'm glad that you came over today. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you all tomorrow with the next Tennessee Conservative News Break. Until then, I'm Brandon Lewis, signing off. Take care, guys.